So what do you like more, playing as a good guy or a bad guy?
So I played almost the entire game as a good guy.
Really?
Yeah. Except towards the end, I went back to myself.
Yeah.
Spoilers. I went to good money.
I was pretty much a good guy myself.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was a good guy too.
Well, see, I felt like Arthur was a good guy, so I wanted to play.
Yeah.
You know, at how Arthur would be.
Like he was dropped in the world.
Yeah. True. I mean, I don't know.
Hey.
The bad Arthur's kind of fun too.
Hey guys, guess what?
What's up?
Welcome everybody to another episode of Headlock Talk.
Oh, we're doing that again?
We are entering episode 4. Episode
Welcome.
4.
I got off work for this.
You got off
man.
work? Well,
Very
good,
cool.
good deal. So did I.
Oh,
Stephen, you?
Not working today.
Hey.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, welcome back to another lovely episode of Headlock Talk. To my left here, Mixmaster Producer Extraordinaire, J-Rod.
Welcome.
Excellent. J-Rod, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing
Doing
no
good?
complaints.
Doing all right? All right. Good deal. To my right here, the one and only Mr. Stephen Groody.
Howdy. Want to apologize. I'm a little under the weather, so if you hear some coughing or sniffling in the background, don't worry. I'm still alive.
Are you?
I'm just not feeling too well.
I'm sorry.
But
Yeah.
I am excited for this episode. Got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. New year, new Headlock Talk.
Yeah.
Brand new wrestling promotion that we're going to have to talk about today.
Yes.
Woo-wee.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeedy.
And
That's
I,
gonna be good.
of course, I'm Tanner. I'm definitely here to make sure that we take this journey together
Oh, well, hi, Tanner.
into the world of wrestling. Oh, hi, Stephen.
Hello.
Yes.
We're going to take this journey together into the world of wrestling. We're going to talk about, as we discussed, brand new promotion, All Elite Wrestling, which is going to be very, very interesting in how we're going to move forward in the world of wrestling going forward from today.
Very excited.
Very exciting news for sure. We're also going to cover Wrestle Kingdom 13. And of course, we're going to talk about some of our favorite matches and moments and memories from the year 2018.
There were a lot of good ones.
It was a big year for wrestling,
Yeah.
and probably, in my opinion, probably one of the most high quality years of wrestling that we've had in a very, very long time. Maybe ever.
Yeah.
Maybe ever.
Close to Attitude Era, but really good.
Mm-hmm. A lot of good stuff.
I think in terms of the quality of matches that we
The
had in
matches were
2018,
the work.
they were
Yeah.
really, really
Yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm.
The work was good.
The work was very good. There's a lot of really good stories as well. Some things that I think excited all of us. From 2018, no matter what kind of promotion or brand you like to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But to kind of start off things here a little bit, want to pay tribute to one of the all-time greats, one of the best mic workers in the business ever. Mean Gene Okerlund passed away. At the start of the year. J-Ross, share with me some of your memories of Mean Gene Okerlund, because I know that you and I were kind of growing up around the time where we saw Mean Gene a lot more frequently. What were some of your memories of
Just
Mean Gene?
All of his interviews and promos with Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and just how he sort of revolutionized that whole announcer stuck in the middle of two guys arguing kind of thing, and just he knew how to be there but not be there type of thing, and you see that imitated to this day.
He's definitely one of the most iconic voices for sure, and he's probably one of the most recognizable people too, because he always seemed to be that guy. If you grew up watching late 80s or early 90s wrestling, whether it was WWE or WCW, whatever it may be, he had a way just by interviewing people to put over those wrestlers. As much, if not more so, than what the wrestlers would do for themselves, because he just had that air of authority. Stephen, what do you remember Mean Gene that much, or what are your memories?
Unfortunately, it was a little bit before my time. Mean Gene. I have watched a lot of stuff about him recently, especially with the news of his unfortunate passing and everything. Very, very important figure. Obviously, from what I understand, it's always unfortunate when anyone from the WWE universe or WWE family passes away. I just want to say I really, really liked the tribute that they did to him.
Absolutely.
For him on Raw with Hulk Hogan. I thought it was really, really, really nicely done, and honestly almost shed a tear during the time when Hulk was in character talking to Mean Gene in his style that he did when Mean Gene was still around, and very beautiful tribute. Rest in peace, Gene.
Yeah, and I know for sure that there's a lot of people out there, especially amongst the wrestling community, who have very sharp, very divided and strong feelings about Hulk Hogan, but I really couldn't think of probably a more appropriate person to kind of do that tribute.
Yeah.
For Mean Gene, who had such an impact in the business. So it was nice to see Hulk, and it was even better to see him pay tribute, and it was a very moving moment on Raw to see that.
Absolutely.
Certainly, Mean Gene's family, friends, loved ones, our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. Mean Gene was definitely one of the best ever, for sure.
Absolutely.
I can't think of a better way to really start the first Headlock Talk of 2019 than to do a little bit of a review of one of the best shows that I've seen in a long, long time, from top to bottom, Wrestle Kingdom 13.
Ooh,
yeah, that was good.
That was a hot show. That was a hot show. I guess, Stephen, what were your thoughts overall about Wrestle Kingdom 13?
So Wrestle Kingdom and New Japan itself, I don't watch a lot of it, just because I'm kind of a WWE NXT fan through and through. That being said, though, man, New Japan, they can put on a freaking show. Wrestle Kingdom was fantastic. Every single match was just on another level. You know, there were no mid-card throwaway matches, and even if they were, they showed up and showed out, and overall, just fantastic show.
Definitely. And J-Raw, you don't watch a lot of New Japan yourself, but you caught it on Access TV.
Yes.
So tell me what was your experience finally catching some of New Japan's product?
Man, electric. I mean, one question though, why are your tables so small? I don't understand.
You know, I'm inclined to agree with you on that point. I am. They look like children's tables.
Yes,
but they're very much legit tables. I feel
they are legit.
They are
because they look a lot sturdier and a lot harder to break.
Oh
than the standard WWE pre-cut tables.
Yeah, they look like they will break you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It looks like those table spots legitimately hurt.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the overall venue size of New Japan stuff, because the space between the ring apron and the barricade is a lot skinnier in New Japan than it is in wrestling in WWE. Sorry, misspoke there, but
that's all right.
Yeah, so I wonder if that might be why. Because if they use the size of tables that WWE used, you'd be filling up that entire
section
space.
Of the ringside.
Yeah,
because they feel like guest tables, not like dinner or placemat tables.
Right.
Just
and those cutaways
the
cutaways that you would have when they would go to like the commentary, they were using the same exact tables, like the smaller, more hardwood tables.
Yeah,
that is hilarious.
Well, I mean, overall, I think that this had pretty much something for everybody in this show. No matter what kind of wrestling you're into, this had something for you.
There was even some more Western wrestling tropes in one of the matches.
Yep, and we will definitely get to that momentarily. The night really started off as part of a pre-show. There was a tag team gauntlet match that was won by the most violent players. So there's not going to be a whole lot of faces that maybe more Western audiences would recognize in this match. I think probably the standout here would be some members of the Elite, Hangman Page, Marty Scurll, and Yujiro Takahashi. So they ended up actually going out as in the very beginning of the match. It was a nice opening segment to get the crowd warmed up. It ran for about almost 28 minutes long. This was really more or less for me not only about helping there be a as part of a 6-man tag team gauntlet, or a 3-man rather tag team gauntlet match. I mean, like I said, it's good to warm up the crowd, but it also kind of was part of maybe a pattern that you would see throughout the night, where the elite members of the elite would be losing matches.
Yes.
Kind of as a stamp on the end of a story.
Contract talk,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Little signing of some contracts.
There's gonna be a lot more to talk about with for sure. We're
foreshadowing.
Definitely some foreshadowing here. So so it was a nice opening match. So I mean, I didn't see a whole lot of it. I was kind of moving about, but from everything I saw, it was good action. Just as a pre-show. Now we're getting to the real meat of the card here.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite matches that I've seen in a minute from New Japan. Will Ospreay defeated Kota Ibushi for the Never Openweight Championship. Now, you guys had some questions about what exactly is an openweight championship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So for everybody who's not aware, the Openweight Championship in New Japan is meant for people between the junior size. We would probably note them more or less as what would be considered in the West as cruiserweights, perhaps. So it's kind of a middle ground between cruiserweights and heavyweights, to where they can have matches. There's no weight classes. In New Japan, they have clearly divided weight classes. You're either a junior heavyweight or you're heavyweight. This is a meeting ground between the two. So you can have juniors fighting heavyweights. You can have juniors fighting juniors, heavyweights fighting heavyweights. It doesn't matter if you just compete for this catchweight title, basically.
Which is a very cool idea, I think.
Yeah.
Having a title that's open to everyone on the roster.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty cool idea.
For sure. Well, and it helps elevate, guys who, if they're juniors, like Will Ospreay, for example, it helps them move up through the weight class. So if he has aspirations to become, say, a light heavyweight champion, or not a light heavyweight champion, but rather a heavyweight champion in New Japan, he's going to have that opportunity for sure. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this match overall. Very stiff, very hard-hitting match. I mean, some people have argued that this match would probably be one that maybe shouldn't have opened the card, because it was such an explosive match right out of the gate. But when you have these two guys, you kind of know what you're getting into. So, Stephen, what was your first impression of this? Because I know you've seen a little bit of Will Ospreay, not much so for Kota Ibushi. What did the both of you think of this match, actually? You and J-Raw.
I mean, honestly, this just continues the thing that I've been saying with New Japan. They're not necessarily throwaway matches, but matches that aren't necessarily main events are just on another caliber, especially at Wrestle Kingdom. And when I say of a higher caliber, I'm of course comparing to a lot of WWE's so-called throwaway matches or mid-card matches, whatever you want to call them. And this match in particular, and all of Wrestle Kingdom, just kind of cemented that a little bit more. I don't think Wrestle Kingdom had bad matches or mid-cards or throwaway matches. And, I saw a little bit of Will Ospreay before, just through a couple matches that you have shown me and things like that, but they both showed up on this match. I thought they both looked extremely solid.
Great work rate done in this match for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like you said, maybe a little bit too explosive for right out of the gate, but with a pay-per-view like this and with a card like this, what else do you expect? They were all kind of explosive in their own way, and I thought it was definitely a good start for sure.
For sure. J-Raw?
Yeah, I haven't gotten to this one yet because Axis, watching on Access, they gave me a mismatch of all the events.
Oh yeah, they see. So tell us a little bit about that, because it seems like what they do is they stagger it. They give you like 2 matches over the course of an hour, but they kind of like jumble
they jumble them, and then they're mistitled. So
really,
you just got in your DVR. They're mistitled, so they do their best to try and label them, but around the time of Wrestle Kingdom, they did a Kenny Omega-thon. So you can catch all of Kenny Omega's greatest matches.
Very cool.
And of course, one of his best ones was at Wrestle Kingdom 13.
Right.
So it was kind of everywhere with the titling.
Right.
So.
Well, I know it's on your DVR. I saw it playing over here, so,
I will be
definitely,
watching.
definitely do that. And shout out to Access TV for giving Western audiences more of a view of what's going on in New Japan.
Absolutely.
I know Mark Cuban's a big part of what's going on with Access TV, so big shout out to him as well for giving.
And that one came in. That one came in last night.
Okay.
So initially they just gave me Juice Robinson and Cody.
Okay.
Naito and Jericho, and then they gave me the title match. And so this one that came in last night is going to do Jay White and Will Ospreay, and so I'm going to get some of those in that too.
Those are 2 pretty good ones. Will Ospreay versus Kota Ibushi, and then obviously later we're going to talk a little bit more about the Jay White and Okada match as well.
And I'm liking, just a side topic, I'm liking Jay White and his angle.
Yeah.
Just how they're moving him up as this kind of up-and-coming guy with, frayed allegiances and sort of a gun almost.
New leader of the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Jay White.
Yeah, so.
To the Ospreay Kota Ibushi match, I rated it about 4.5 stars myself. I really enjoyed that as a solid opener. Could it have been later in the card? Absolutely. But for where it's at, it was really something, in my opinion, just to blow away audiences right off the bat and just give it some impact. They did play up a little bit of an angle where it was like, where Kota Ibushi got carted out, like he got stretchered out at the end of the match, because now you're thinking, well, okay, is this a shoot? Is it a work? Is he really injured? He did legitimately suffer a concussion during the match, but I don't think it's anything too worrisome at this point. So I'm sure we'll see him back sooner as opposed to later. Second match on the card, the main card here, Los Ingobernables de Japón. Bushi. Oh, thank you. Bushi and Tagaki defeated Suzuki-gun and Roppongi 3K for the in a tag match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Match went about 7 minutes. I described this to Stephen during the match as a bit of a palate cleanser, because you have something so heavy and crazy like Will Ospreay and Kota Ibushi. It was so hard hitting and such a good action-packed match. Yeah, you got to downshift a little bit and settle people back in. Yeah, so that way they can manage it a little bit more. And you see WWE do this from time to time, where they downshift in the middle of a card. Especially now they have these 4-hour pay-per-views, more and more often. But this one was really enjoyable. Still got the blood pumping and made you really want to enjoy this. So.
Sort of like you could say the Mysterio, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton.
Kind
somewhat of a downshift.
Kind of like that, where it was like okay, you just saw something pretty interesting. Now let's palate cleanse.
I actually really liked that match.
Yeah, it was good.
Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, but no, you're right.
Two
definitely
professionals
was.
in there.
Yeah.
Keep the crowd going, but they know how to, go mid grade.
Right.
Absolutely.
To run it straight down the middle.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. I mean, was this match like stand out, head above shoulders, a fantastic match? I mean, for 7 minutes it was great, right? I wouldn't expect anything fantastic out of this, but all 6 guys in this match were absolutely talented.
Nice.
Yeah, 100%. And everyone's super talented in the match. I just want to say this about this match and also the 5th match in the card with Young Bucks, Gorillas of Destiny. I don't want 3-way tag team matches. There's too many people in the ring.
Yeah.
There's too much to watch, and these guys did put on a really great show.
Yeah.
And it was a great match.
Yeah.
However, the 3-way tag is not a match style or gimmick that I normally enjoy.
Okay. That's fair.
It's just there's just too much going on, and it's really hard to build a story when every third move is reversed by another tag team.
Plus, to your point, when guys start to take breaks, because obviously, this one wasn't long, but a 3-way tag can go on for a while.
Right.
That kills the story.
Yeah, and also,
like, okay, I'm gonna lay off to the side.
Yeah. And going off of your point, it almost it almost suspends. It makes it hard to suspend your disbelief as well, because if you're doing a 3-way tag match and I mean, to make it really entertaining, you have to have one guy on one guy at the same time, and then you have a bunch of people who are pretending to be dead outside of the ring. And
I don't want to get you going, Stephen, but to your point, New Day sort of died in that last 3-way tag match.
Yeah.
It's just, if you were hoping this was New Day's chance to kind of get back into some kind of story, well, they're dead.
Yeah, well, like I've seen people in this tag team go on for 20-minute matches. You want me to believe that Kofi Kingston's going to take one punch to the face and then he rolls out of the ring for 7 minutes? Like, I know Kofi's better than that. Yeah. And so if he's just rolling out and playing dead outside the ring, it's like, okay, I know he's not really hurt. And
some of these 3-ways, they break down tornado style after a point where it's just like everybody's coming in the ring, the ref's not really, like, he's like just letting it go.
Yeah.
And I mean,
let him play.
And that's fine. You know what? I really... to that point, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I don't think that this was anything more than this. It's supposed to be something fun to kind of get your mind off.
Right.
Man, I just saw Will Ospreay and Kota Ibushi tear it down. Like, how's the rest of the card going to stand up to it? And it's like, okay, well, here's something fun for us to kind of sit back and enjoy.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on from 3-way tags, if you're going to do that 3 or 4-way tag or whatever you do, I would prefer you do it like War Games, how they did it, when it was like, all right, we're going to set these guys up like dominoes and create all these kinds of stunts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like that.
For sure, and we can go on from this match, but I do just want to say,
Takagi, tangenting.
I am a fan now.
Oh yeah.
I like this guy.
You said you like the dragon.
I like the dragon.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish he was in a different match, just because I'm not a fan of this match style, but he did put on a good enough show that I am now a fan. So
I mean, you kind of started gaining fandom for all of Los Ingobernables.
I did. A lot of really cool guys, especially Evil. Also an Evil fan now as well.
Yeah.
Sonata.
Yeah.
Naito.
Yeah, I like Naito.
He's such an awesome talent.
Yeah.
Moving on, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ishii for the British Heavyweight Championship. Little known fact here: New Japan is very, very cool in that they will have title matches from other promotions that that get held at New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom. So in the past, we've seen the Ring of Honor title held. Yeah, we've seen the Ring of Honor heavyweight title held there.
That's cool.
And now we're seeing this title from Revolution Pro Wrestling from England. Ishii, their champion, loses to Zack Sabre Jr., a Brit, an Englishman.
Yep. Through and through.
Yep. In about 12 minutes. Just like we noted earlier, there was something for everybody here on this card. This was a technical masterpiece here put on by Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, for me, this match came out of nowhere. I don't watch a lot of New Japan, and I definitely don't watch what's the Rev Pro.
Yeah.
This is actually the first I've heard of it, so I definitely don't watch that. Definitely don't know these guys. Zack Sabre Jr., man.
Yeah.
What a beast.
Yeah.
He is insane. His technical work is crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He finished Ishii off with the double octopus hold, which was fantastic. Ishii didn't even have any arms to tap out. He had to just nod his head, and the referee stopped the match.
Yep.
I also put this one here within the 4.5 star range, just because of how excellent it was. And Ishii, as the champion, really became very, very good, or showed a good example of a tough champion. Trying to defend his title.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I mean, I really, really enjoyed that match.
Yeah, and it was definitely one of the most technical matches I've ever seen. Yeah. Those guys were just crazy.
Well, and Zack Sabre Jr., he reminds me a lot of, like if you watch a guy like Chris Benoit from back in the day, or Dean Malenko, these guys were super technical. Yeah, better, yeah. He's definitely more of a submission-based guy, and when you look at Zack Sabre Jr., you don't immediately see like. I'm not saying that he's not in shape, but he's very slender compared to a lot of other guys that you might see. But he makes up for it in being tough and hitting hard when he does do strikes, and his submission game is crazy.
No, absolutely.
He has a sense of legitimacy, I feel.
100%. Looking at Zack Sabre Jr., you almost expect almost a high flying cruiserweight, just based on how he looks, but got way more than that from him, and I wasn't expecting it. And that was actually one of my favorite matches off the card, just because it, to me, came out of nowhere and was such a high quality match from two guys that I've never heard of. Just all around fantastic match.
No, absolutely. I like I said, I'm a big fan of that match. I really, really enjoyed the technical work done by Zack Sabre Jr. and Ishii's willingness to not only put over Zack Sabre Jr., but also he looked really, really good in the process, and I think both men deserve a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, for the amount of time that they were given, great match. For you technical wrestling lovers out there, something for you to enjoy on this card.
Yeah. Yep.
Another three-way tag team match here. You commented on it, Steven. Steven's throwing his hands up in the air. Los Ingobernables de Japón continue their big night here.
They did have a very big night.
Yep.
Very big night.
Evil and Sonata defeated the Grills of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, as well as...
Which, let me just say real quick... Oh, thank you, sir. Let me just say real quick.
As well as the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks were also in this match.
Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, those don't sound like real names.
I mean, they're probably not. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just want to say that. I'm not gonna elaborate further. Well, I'm just saying.
They're Samoan. If you haven't seen these guys before, they're Samoan, and I believe they're related to, if I'm not mistaken, Roman Reigns and the Usos. That side.
Okay.
That's
the
WWE wrestling family.
Yeah, Samoan side of that lineage. So, and they look very similar. To those guys, and I think that they wrestle very similarly to those guys as well. Evil and Sonata win the tag straps in about 10 minutes. Again, continuing on with a little bit of a pattern that we see here throughout the show. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. This is a little bit of their swan song for the New Japan Tag Division. Yeah, they were huge players in it for a long, long time, they go out here. With a loss, just like what you should always go out on your shield. Yeah. Big night for Evil and Sonata. Sonata, I feel, is like somebody who could even play a big part in the singles division. So can Evil. Both do that already fairly often, but they make for a great tag team.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Nice. So we're getting to Juice Robinson?
Yep, Juice Robinson and Cody. Yeah, you watched this match on Access TV, J-Rod. What did you think of this?
Great match. In the way, again, I didn't get, a specific order, but the way I got to watch it being, for me, a precursor to Naito Jericho and Tanahashi Omega, it sort of played out as the pregame to those two main events. Almost.
I can see that. Maybe
clean match.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did not know Brandy Rose was that athletic.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, really good clothesline with Juice selling it and her athleticism. Just a really solid match.
Yeah.
Told a great story. Not an ultra complicated story.
Yeah.
But did the trick.
Yeah, and this match was the one that we talked about at the top of the show that had a little bit more of the Western tropes to it.
Yep.
With the the spouse coming in and causing some
outside interference.
Yeah, a lot of outside interference, little bit of chaos from the spouse, and then the revenge from Cody and things like that.
Well, and we're seeing this through Western eyes. You know, I mean, so this is something that we're fairly used to because of years of either seeing this through the WWE and recognizing these kind of acts, or even WCW. You know, if you used to watch WCW, you get a lot of that kind of flavor out of this match. I feel so. This is kind of, like I said, a throwback to maybe late '80s, early '90s. U.S. wrestling, but for a Japanese audience, this is something unique to them. So even though we might see it in one way, I think that they recognized it as something that was very interesting. I think Brandy drew a lot of heat for continuously interfering, and then she got kicked out of the match. Juice Robinson goes over Cody. Likewise, I mean, Cody being part of the Elite. Wasn't going to survive this match, and I think the plan was always for Juice Robinson to regain his title from Cody anyway. So two great former WWE guys, doing it pretty well. Serving themselves well here in New Japan.
100%.
Probably see more of Juice Robinson again in the future, and definitely see more of Cody Rhodes in a different.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
Yes, indeed.
So we've match number 7 here is still kind of here in this we're getting towards the end of New Japan, but to give it a little bit more flavor, we had a singles match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. We had Kushida. Let me talk about Kushida's entrance real quick here. Kushida was coming out to the ring. His music played. And then I want to say it was a little kid. As a little kid comes out with a very realistic Kushida mask on, and is making his way, the belt on. Yeah. You remember this?
I do now.
And he's waving to the crowd and everything. And then, Kushida's gimmick, if you haven't seen it before, he's kind of, they call him the time splitter. He's he's kind of like a Back to the Future kind of character, perhaps.
Gotcha.
Or kind of gimmick going on.
Yeah, they did have the was it this one that they had the Doc Brown?
Yeah, the Doc Brown character comes out waving his hands, and he's got a device gimmick. Right. And he has the Kushida, the mini Kushida stand in that box, and he presses the button. And then if you're watching English commentary from New Japan World Stream, the English commentator says, he just blew up that kid. And then the smoke and everything comes out, and then the real Kushida comes out. So this match goes on for a little bit over 11 minutes. Ishimori gets the win here in a pretty decent juniors match. Ishimori representing the Bullet Club, so the Bullet Club's now going to hold that junior heavyweight title. The big story of this match, really and truly, is Kushida is more than likely going to show up in WWE.
Nice.
He's probably going to come over to NXT.
I feel. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him in NXT.
He's got the talent for it, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you would normally think that maybe he would show up and be maybe part of 205 Live, just for his size and athleticism. But I mean, he's definitely got the talent to make it over in NXT. And I do wish him all the best when he shows up on NXT television.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have Jay White and Kazuchika Okada.
Because Kazuchika Okada, man. Interesting semi-stories in here. Jay White and Kazuchika Okada were in the same faction in Japan. See, there's a lot of major factions in Japan, like there's Chaos.
Yeah.
There's
that's what I was watching with Chaos.
Chaos.
Yeah.
There's Bullet Club, obviously. They're kind of like the NWO remake.
Yeah.
There's the Elite. That's where Kenny Omega and Cody and the Young Bucks came from. And there's Los Ingobernables de Japón, who we've talked about a lot here in this episode. So Jay White and Kazuchika Okada were in the same group together for a while with Gedo. Gedo was the guy who would always manage Okada during his title reign.
Okay.
And Jay White and Gedo betrayed Okada at one point, leading to this major story. And Okada, after he lost the title to Omega, there's a lot of people who questioned whether or not he still has it. He kind of snapped and had his own kind of broken Hardy gimmick going on, where he would come out with balloons and dyed hair and not really taking care of himself.
My question is, again, I've been watching a lot of New Japan on Axis and the Kenny Omega-thon, and from what I understood, Jay White went with Chaos around the time, and you can correct me on this, that Kenny Omega was leading Bullet Club and trying to recruit him?
Yeah, so...
Was that mid last year?
So, early last year...
Because I was looking at some of their matches, and that was one of their storylines.
Yeah, after Jay White made a big splash with his character in New Japan last year, Kenny Omega definitely made for a push to bring in Jay White into the fold of Bullet Club, because there was a lot of fractures going on inside Bullet Club. This was before the Elite split off and became their own group, away from Bullet Club. So they tried to bring Jay White in. Jay White, he looked like he was going to take the shirt.
That's the scene I'm talking about.
And he gave a finisher to Kenny Omega. Well, so he essentially joins Chaos with Okada. And then after a while, he betrays Chaos. He betrays Okada. So does Gedo. And so him and Gedo move over to Bullet Club now with Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, Bad Luck Fale, and a lot of the other talent that's inside Bullet Club. So we're now seeing here Jay White's assumed the leadership position that Kenny Omega and AJ Styles and Finn Balor had before him. Some
big shoes to fill.
Yeah, those are three huge names.
Mm-hmm.
So they're definitely putting a lot of trust in Jay White. They have a good 14-minute long match here between Okada and Jay White. Okada, has come back to his Rainmaker gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
He's finally starting to feel himself. Put on a really great performance. Really put over Jay White in this match.
Now both looked really solid, and this was one of the first, or the first match that I've seen of Jay White. And I thought his gimmick works really well with him. I think he looks super, super solid in the ring. And like you were saying, Okada did a really good job of putting Jay White over in this match. And I thought it was just really well done all around.
Well, and I've never seen a bad Okada match. I don't think he has it in him to have a bad match, or a bad singles match rather.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
I was gonna say too, and this kid Jay White, he just catches my eye. Something about his ring work and his storyline is just jumping off the screen. There and
it should, they're putting him in a nice elevated position, being the leader of the Bullet Club. They're gonna need a new top 4 and heel guy, and kind of like what you're saying, they need to position Jay White as somebody who can really pop out, and I think he does. Just like what you were saying, Jay. So you really enjoyed the match, J-Rod?
No, this one I haven't gotten to yet because I still have
that's the one with the Ospreay and the Bushi match. Those are together on Axis. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean.
Let me tell you, you got a great match coming.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Two great matches. So you're in some luck here.
Nice.
I'm actually jealous of you. I wish I could watch some of these matches again for the first time because they're that good.
They're really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
A running theme through this show here, once again. This is colliding two kind of themes here in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho and Tetsuya Naito. Coming together here, having a match. One theme here is that we're seeing different things like there's a different match for everybody here on this card, and this is again one of them. No disqualification match for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Tetsuya Naito versus, of course, the Alpha Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Yep.
And I like the trolling Alpha Club shirts.
Alpha Club.
Dudes, he just knows he can go anywhere. You just give him the writing, take it. He will take it away.
Chris Jericho's money wherever he goes. He's definitely the top guy wherever you see him coming out.
No, and this match was absolutely fantastic. I'm having a hard time deciding if I like this one or the Kenny Omega Tanahashi match more, just because I think the Kenny Omega Tanahashi match was a lot better in terms of the technicality of it and everything like that. But with the Naito Chris Jericho match,
way more bumps.
It was just big moment after big moment after big moment.
Pretty violent too.
Yeah, and I remember telling you about this as we were watching it. It reminded me a lot of my childhood and the kind of no disqualification matches that I saw, where it was just brutal for 20 minutes, and they delivered on that with this match.
There was a little thingamajiggy with the razor blade, flim flam flume.
There was a really sick bump in the middle of the match where
you're talking about the table DDT.
Well, there was that. Well,
that was mine, man.
Where Naito was dead.
Yeah,
I thought he was dead too.
Naito was like vertically up and down on his head.
Well, he did a headstand for a solid second, maybe 2 seconds.
He did a 2-second headstand and then craned over.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
That's one of those things where it's
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, that's
it's like
fine.
If he gets
I'm
up,
living it in my head, really, to be honest with you.
If he gets up, it's awesome and you cheer. If he doesn't, you're like, damn.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just there's no middle ground there.
Tetsuya Naito's kind of like this. He's kind of like almost like a Stone Cold Steve Austin character within New Japan. Kind of like that anti-authority. He's the leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón. He's always telling everybody. Oh, thank you. He's always telling everybody. Be tranquilo.
Right. Tranquilo.
Relax,
yeah.
He's got a really good thing going right now. I'm a really big fan of Naito. He's had some classic matches with Kenny Omega that we'll get to maybe a little bit later on.
Yeah.
And then Chris Jericho, man.
How can you miss?
Like you said, Chris Jericho's money, and at the same time, his gimmick that he has going on right now with the Joker face paint heel thing. I love it. I mean,
how elite, for lack of a better phrase, can you be to put top guys over?
Yeah.
It's one thing to get a guy there, but to come in and say, I'll take your top guy and put him wherever there is
I'll
make
him even
absolutely
bigger than what he was.
Bigger than what he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it last year with Kenny Omega. Possible favorite match of 2018. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, and I just want to throw out there, I'm not sure what kind of gimmick they're going to go with whenever. I'm getting a little bit into the next segment here, but with Chris Jericho possibly moving over to, or not possibly, but moving over to All Elite, what gimmick is he going to go with? Because I would be fine with him sticking with the gimmick that he's in right now, and having, I think if you put Cody as the main face, and then you put Chris Jericho as the main heel, I think you're starting off for a really, really solid storyline. But at the same time, they can give Chris Jericho anything at this point, and it's going to be great.
My only caveat to what Jericho did is we believe it, right, because he's Jericho. But he really didn't explain why he was mad. He came in pissed off at Kenny Omega.
Right.
Came in pissed off at Naito.
Well, I mean,
he was just pissed off at people. And he was like, I'm pissed off. But it worked because it's Jericho.
Because it's Jericho and he can make it work.
He just makes it work.
Jericho's very subtle in that he started the Omega feud over Twitter with so he called out
sort
Omega.
of, you're not the best.
Yep.
I'm gonna come in.
You're not the best. I'm the best.
I'm gonna show you.
That's straight out of Chris Jericho's book. Is I'm the best in the world. Now CM Punk kind of stole that too. But Chris Jericho's always touted that he's the best, and I mean there's very few who can argue that right now.
No, I mean,
But yeah, I mean, he put Naito over big. They had a really great hardcore match.
Loved it.
So, I mean, if you are a fan of highbrow no disqualification matches, this one's for you.
Yeah,
yes,
100%.
Yes.
And now the big Mamma Jamma.
Oh, real quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking of some things with Jericho. Just one thing on Jericho, and it's just a side note in general. It was a little refreshing that New Japan allows cursing. So they could take it to those dark angles without saying "you darn sucker." They could actually take it.
They're not super PG like the WWE.
Yeah, right.
I don't think they expect their audiences to really be like, because it is predominantly Japanese audience who gets New Japan. Yeah. But I mean, you say you have Chris Jericho who says a swear word in English. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
But for us as Americans, we're like, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it allowed him to go a little darker,
Absolutely.
and just raw with emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you felt like it was two men squaring off versus just, two guys, two men trying to characters.
Yeah. Right.
You felt a real heat.
Mm-hmm.
And one last thing on Naito, if you follow his character any at all, for about two years or so ago, he was holding the Intercontinental title. He had some fantastic feuds with Tanahashi, but he never really respected the title. Like he would always treat it very interestingly, where he would like throw it around, he would throw it into the ring. He didn't really care about the title. He wasn't a big fan of it. He found a way to win this match using the title.
That's what I was wondering, because I was gonna say, isn't this the one that ended with, if I can recall, him smashing it over Jericho's head?
He smashed Jericho,
and then tossing it aside and finishing them off.
Tossed it aside.
I did catch that.
Yeah, he did.
It's like, hey,
I mean, it was.
This guy want this belt.
Well, and so he had in an interview out after the match and says, well, I know that maybe I didn't like the title, or I didn't respect the title. I don't really know what the exact translation is, but he says, well, the title keeps finding a way to come back.
Yeah.
So maybe I keep the title for a little bit now.
Yeah.
So who knows? We might see Naito holding on to this title, maybe giving it some even more credence than what it has now.
Hey, I'd be totally down for a Naito reign for sure.
Yeah.
If we get some more of these good matches.
He's gonna have a pretty healthy reign, I believe.
Okay.
But onwards to the main event of the evening.
The main event.
A battle of philosophies, a battle of generations. Hiroshi Tanahashi, New Japan's own version, in my opinion, of John Cena. Kind of the man who kind of helped bring New Japan out of its dark age, against Kenny Omega, who, in my opinion, might be between him and Okada, once in generation talents.
Right. Yes.
Kenny Omega is the title holder coming into this match. He got kind of put down by Tanahashi. Tanahashi saying that Kenny Omega's matches don't have any story to them. They don't. He doesn't tell a story in the ring. There's just moves. Kenny Omega, says that this is not the New Japan that Tanahashi once knew. That he puts himself and guys like Okada and Naito over as this is what New Japan really it should be going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a lot of build to this match. Tanahashi won the right to have this match by winning the G1 tournament this year, or rather in 2018. Which automatically gives him the reserved contract to have that main event.
Sort of like a Money in the Bank thing. I noticed that.
It's kind of like the Money in the Bank. G1 is like it's a long running tournament based on it's not like a bracketed tournament like what we would think of normally, but it's kind of like a round robin's point system kind of tournament where
interesting. Okay.
You gain points based on your wins, and if you don't win a match, you're obviously not getting points or whatever.
Do you lose points for losing?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and relook at the rules. Yeah, because this year I tried to follow it as best as I could because of all the high quality matches that they had, but I could never really grasp what the point system was.
Gotcha.
All I could follow really was, okay, well here's the pattern. I know that this is where the semifinals should be. This is where the finals are.
Right.
That
Gotcha.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you definitely. I think what happens is it's you have two blocks. You have the A block and the B block, and whoever has the most points tallied out of the A block goes to the finals against the top two in the A block have a match in the semifinals. The top two of the B block have a match in the semifinals of the B block.
And then the winners of those
face
two
each other.
Gotcha. Okay. That's. I mean, it's semi-bracketed.
Semi-bracketed.
I mean,
to a point.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if it's separate groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so Tanahashi kind of he kind of in the same position like what John Cena is right now. He's trying to find. His story was finding a way to get back to Wrestle Kingdom and get back to winning his 8th championship. That was his story because for a lot of people they have written him off saying, okay, well he's too old, he's too injured, and Kenny Omega. I mean, he's that new generation.
Yeah.
He's the current guard who says this is now the best bout machine. He's the guy who's going to be bringing New Japan in the future. So not a lot of respect back and forth between these guys, but for almost 40 minutes they put on a clinic. Classic match.
Yeah. First thing I just want to say.
Go ahead.
Not really a part of the match per se, but Kenny Omega's opening attire was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. With the one wing, and then he had the trigger on his right hand.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool. I loved it.
Listeners, if you have a chance to, and if you haven't seen this yet, you definitely should check it out. But there's a really cool YouTube video that they put out for Kenny Omega. If you go to YouTube and look up Kenny's Quest, there's a nice little video game story that you get for Kenny Omega versus Tanahashi.
Fantastic.
I think one interesting dynamic, and maybe again,
was that played while he was coming in?
Yes,
that was
it
really
did.
cool.
And his
was really cool.
And Kenny's music was different too, because I think they took the music from the video game. I think it was based off of EverQuest or Evertale.
It looked like
it looked,
Final Fantasy 2.
It looked like Final Fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 2.
Right. I'm not 100% where that came from. It could be either one of those.
Right.
Sure. But
and side note, can I say, I loved his immersion into the culture. You know what I mean? Kenny Omega. Yeah. How he just, comes in, he did it with that, but then last year he did it with the big gun.
Yeah.
And just, he kind of, knows where he is. And he of course, we love those things too. Right. I mean, I love, video games, Nintendo, but
he's lived there so long.
Yeah,
and he's now an official Japanese citizen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
nice.
I mean, he's
got dual citizenship.
Nice.
He might be just straight up Japanese citizen now. I don't know, but I know probably at least dual citizen.
Yeah.
And I love how he just is a part of the culture. You know what I mean?
Definitely, and I think that he really put it over big time how important this match was to the future of New Japan.
Yeah.
And for me, a definite 5-star match. I would probably also put Jericho and Naito probably in that 4.5 to 5-star range.
Both of those get 5 stars from me.
Yeah, I mean this for sure. The Kenny Omega Tanahashi match was 5 stars. I liked how big the spots were. I like how important Kenny made it feel.
Yeah.
Even as a heel in this match, because I think that they had to play that because they are in Japan. They are trying to play up that he's
right.
That Kenny's the outsider, the foreigner, and I think that New Japan has a tendency to play that up quite a bit,
but not overdoing it. It's it's to the point where they do it enough to get the point across, but it's not slam down your throat. You know,
it's a subplot. Into everything else.
Yeah.
Tanahashi's this old guard. of from Japan, Japanese guy, against the outsider, the forerunner, Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And obviously we see that in WWE all the time too. The foreign heel.
Yeah.
That's a classic
Shinsuke.
trope. Shinsuke.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal.
Oh yeah.
You'll see it everywhere.
The list goes on. Yeah.
But Kenny made this a really, really great special match, and so did Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Both guys deserve a lot of credit. One interesting line here: Kenny Omega did not actually hit the one-winged angel. Like he had several occasions where he hit a nasty-looking V trigger.
Those are some of the best V triggers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just insane. I just want to speak to our WWE only listeners here right now. Do yourself a favor and look up any match that Kenny Omega has ever done.
Right.
Yes.
He is on another freaking level.
To everybody.
It's nuts how good this man is at this form of entertainment. And I'm being very intense right now because I'm trying to get the point across that Kenny Omega is something special.
Yeah, when you see his ring work,
it's just, but it's not even just his ring work; it's his mic work, and he sells his storylines amazingly. He looks amazing inside and outside of the ring. Great gimmicks, great personality.
Well, that's what I was gonna get to. You really got it going when the spot when he tosses Tanahashi over the little stand, onto a table, and just looks at the crowd like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Yep.
That's your hero down there in that crumpled mess.
Yeah.
It's almost shooting a promo while
in the match.
In the match.
Yeah.
It was brilliantly done. For just shy of 40 minutes, Tanahashi puts Kenny Omega away with a high fly flow. Fantastic. Again, Kenny's lack of delivering the one-winged angel certainly, in my mind, leaves it open for possible rematches in the future.
For sure.
Which, like I said, I would be very much open to seeing another Tanahashi and Kenny Omega match.
Yeah.
But as we'll get to here in a little bit, there's a lot of questions floating in the air about Kenny Omega and what his future may hold.
Right. But more on this match real quick. I know I'm playing up Kenny Omega a lot, but I'm not trying to downplay Tanahashi one bit. Obviously he did win the match, but
absolutely.
These two guys are just in the upper echelon in terms of quality, in terms of just putting on a great show. Tanahashi, that man knows what he's doing.
Absolutely.
That man knows what he is doing.
Absolutely. No, and he deserves to have that other that new run. And like I said,
I'm excited for his upcoming title reign. He's going to be putting on some great matches for sure.
I definitely hope so. And this will probably lead into the Madison Square Garden show that New Japan's going to have joining with Ring of Honor. He'll probably hold the title through then.
Yeah.
If I was a betting man, and again, we don't have any idea what Kenny Omega's future looks like.
Right.
I would put it down to one of maybe three possibilities.
Yep.
I could see it if Kenny Omega stays with New Japan or something gets worked out with New Japan. I could see the rematch happening at Madison Square Garden and the title changing hands again, going back to Kenny. I could see Tanahashi holding the title against Kota Ibushi, who is Kenny Omega's best friend in real life and storyline from everything I understand. And possibly, if we're talking about one guy who's never held the title, who deserves to hold the title, I'd say Kota Ibushi is that guy.
Absolutely.
I could also see maybe a Tanahashi Okada match. I don't think you would put the title on Okada this soon after losing it, so I would probably assume if you go in that direction, maybe keeping it on Tanahashi. But
yeah, I just want to say one quick thing on your first point there of possibly, Kenny staying with New Japan or coming up with some kind of agreement between New Japan and All Elite to be in the both of them.
Yeah.
If that does happen and he becomes kind of on both of the rosters of the of those two, I really would not want that at all. And here's why.
So you want some kind of exclusivity for Kenny Omega?
Yeah, and it's not necessarily anything about Kenny Omega specifically,
right?
But I'm just saying I want all the focus to be on one thing, because if he's bouncing between the two, then if he gets the title back in New Japan, then it almost becomes, and not this bad, but it almost becomes like a Brock Lesnar type situation where it's like, oh, we do have a champion for our illustrious title, but he's over here doing something else, you know?
Of course, and I've thought about that for sure as well. And just to build some context for the listener here, Kenny Omega's contract with New Japan expires at the end of January 2019. Okay, now
off Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, hot off Wrestle Kingdom. Now, he hasn't been seen back in New Japan since he's lost the title to Tanahashi.
Yeah, the only thing was the interview that night.
Yeah, the interview. He had an interview not too long after Wrestle Kingdom where he said that he's not going to go back to New Japan. And that he doesn't want to go back to wrestling immediately. But he did make it very clear that Tanahashi's not at the top of his agenda right now. Yeah, he wants to. He definitely reiterated that he would like to have another match against Tanahashi at some point. But he made it pretty clear that he's considering another frontier. And so, I mean, you definitely have the rumors about where Kenny Omega might go. He might be going to All Elite, for sure.
Free agent?
Yeah, Kenny Omega's a free agent at the end of
at the end of this month.
At the end of January 2019.
So we're saying he may want to stay free agent or independent?
I mean, it's possible. So what happened is during Wrestle Kingdom weekend and post show, you have a meeting between representatives of three companies. Okay, we have New Japan, obviously, Ring of Honor, and representatives from the new All Elite Wrestling (AEW) company.
Yeah.
So they held a meeting to try and figure out how this is going to work and if they're going to be able to work together going forward in the future, if there's going to be some kind of partnership. Because within Ring of Honor and within New Japan, if you think about the impact of what guys like the Young Bucks have had and what Cody has had and what Kenny Omega has had. These are guys who were primetime players in multiple different companies, and now that the Elite has moved on, and now they're doing their own company, they could, there could be a possible blooming partnership there.
Yeah.
I think AEW primarily wanted to have New Japan, to help be backed there because of Kenny Omega and because of talent like Kazuchika Okada, who was at the original All In show. So I think that could have been beneficial to them. I think the one thing that kind of prevents that is Ring of Honor. So what happens is you have New Japan kind of holding out for Ring of Honor now, especially with them having this newly booked show at Madison Square Garden that'll happen WrestleMania weekend. That's going to be fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But I think that AEW, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but their emergence has kind of thrown a kink.
And here's what I wanted to say to that.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going to go. About year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, there was huge talk, and going into mid last year, of Kenny Omega coming to WWE.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see how AEW is just throwing a wrench in that, because now
there's a
big player in town. There's more game in town.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
it changes the business.
I just want to be a fly in Vince McMahon's meeting room right now.
Yeah.
Because you're coming off of, a 3-4 year old writing controversy that fans clearly have not let go of, with the Roman Reigns debacle.
I mean, there's a lot.
You're starting to generate some momentum from a good year last year. Yeah. And then here this comes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just when you thought you were gaining the leverage that, you've had by being the only game in town to get Kenny Omega to come over and just crush any idea of potential competition.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
These guys appear the moment he becomes a free agent.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, he's got to be flipping some tables.
Yeah, for sure.
So Wrestle Kingdom 13 weekend, it was pretty well scouted and well covered, well reported. WWE had made what was quote unquote a fantastic offer to Kenny Omega. Mm-hmm. WWE made this offer. I've heard different numbers and figures being flown around, but the one that kept coming back up was $3.5 million for Kenny Omega.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Yeah, that would be a massive deal. As much as I personally would love to see Kenny Omega have a short stint in NXT, you don't give a guy $3.5 million to go to NXT.
No.
Unfortunately.
100%.
I mean, making as much as the entire roster.
Right. Well, the most interesting thing about Kenny Omega in this whole situation is no matter where he goes, he's going to be great. Yeah. Whether he stays in New Japan, whether he does go to exclusively All Elite or exclusively WWE, he's going to be great in either one. Yeah. And so it's interesting to see these companies kind of doing like a back and forth, almost tug of war kind of thing to try to get this really hot talent. But in terms of us wrestling fans, we're pretty much going to win either way. Yes. Because he's proven to everyone that he can be amazing in New Japan. I know for a fact that with all the talent that's going to All Elite, he can definitely be great there. Yeah. My best case scenario is that he goes to WWE because, WWE is my darling child. I love WWE and I love the characters in WWE, and I have so many dream matches with Kenny Omega. But if he doesn't go to WWE and he stays in New Japan or goes to All Elite, we still win.
Exactly.
We're still going to be getting more Kenny.
And with that said, we still win. I'm on the opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt, Vince McMahon did, or even, I don't know if it was him or the writers or whoever came up with the approval on it, they did Cody Rhodes wrong by forcing him to stay in the Stardust gimmick. Now, obviously, you can't force someone to do it, but from the sense of, all right, this or go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's the illusion of choice.
The illusion of choice.
Right.
And so,
that was a very strange time for Cody.
Very.
So you don't necessarily trust that the writing staff and maybe not directly Vince McMahon, but the writing staff under Vince McMahon more or less can't really be trusted with somebody like Kenny Omega.
No. I'm not going there. I just think the storyline, if you want to get AEW, right? Let's say dream scenario 5 years from now, even with social media 3 years from now, with the way things ramp up heat, if you want to see them, in my opinion, becoming in the next WCW-esque, I mean a real Titan to hang, that's a storyline you can champion of Cody Rhodes being screwed by WWE. And then you have a Kenny Omega. That's only a superstar. That's going to really give the cachet of the matches. Because WCW, they had the trolling, but then they had the matches. You had Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan.
Well,
those guys sucked in the ring.
The cruiserweights underneath in the lower card. And that was my favorite part of WCW was the cruiserweights.
Well, going off your point, I was telling Tanner about this a little bit earlier today before the podcast. If you want a really solid basis for a storyline or a set of storylines in AEW, have Cody be your main face and have Kenny be your main heel. Right off the bat, you have two amazing superstars that can pretty much make any storyline you have work.
Well, and New Japan already had success with that story.
Right.
You know, all of last year was Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes fighting for Bullet Club supremacy.
Nice.
You know, so I mean, that would be good. I mean, you could even do it vice versa. You could do Kenny Omega being the face and Cody being the heel.
Yeah.
You know, I just to kind of cap off where Kenny Omega lies. I mean, I agree with what you said in that we're all winners here. No matter what Kenny decides. I think if he goes to WWE, you could have him face anybody in the world. Rollins, AJ, Bryan.
Let me just say, yes, if I got a Kenny Omega Tommaso Ciampa match, there would be no match that could ever compare. I'm just saying.
I think it would be beautiful. I think it would be absolutely beautiful.
It would be beautiful, 100%.
But I mean, at the same time, does Kenny want to, abandon his new home in Japan?
Right.
You know, I mean, because it would really damage New Japan if he was to leave. Completely.
The more likely scenario is because they could probably pool the funds contract-wise to match WWE potential ownership stakes. Is an AEW New Japan sort of dual contract since they're already working together.
I think AEW already has the funds just to do it alone.
Wow.
Like they
Khan's rich.
The Khan family is very
Khan
I mean,
rich.
they own the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course. They own Fulham Football Club in England.
But the question is, do they want to put that level of an investment, or are there words on the street that the Khans are that in?
Yeah.
I mean, they're letting them use the stadium.
That's absolutely it. Like they're willing to invest.
Any TV contracts?
Oh, we're about to talk about that, my friend.
Oh, okay.
But just to round.
Breaking. We don't have
a
belt. Maybe we need a belt.
We don't have physical belt
sound effects or triangle maybe.
Triangle would be good.
We just have Steve's hoodoo.
I think what, just going back to finish up this argument here for Kenny Omega, I do think that the best case scenario would be maybe have him re-sign with New Japan, because I still think that there's a story left to tell with Tanahashi, but, and this is a big but, you would still have him be part of AEW as a not necessarily like a Brock Lesnar type, but as the guy who everybody knows is like a huge deal, and have him come back for really big angles from time to time. You know, so I mean, you can definitely have New Japan have him for 9 months out of the year, and Kenny come in and tell a really good story in AEW for 6 months out of the year. You know, you can split time like that. But I mean, I think that it's probably either down to him solely sticking with New Japan or or going with AEW. For sure.
My best case scenario out of this situation is obviously I would love to see him in WWE. That's not going to happen, I don't think.
It's
probably the least likely. I would love for it to happen, but whichever company he does go with, my best case scenario is that he's exclusively with that company.
That probably would be the most ideal thing.
Yeah, but especially if he does go, or when he does go to All Elite Wrestling, if you have one of your top guys splitting time between your brand new company who's really trying to get a name for themselves and put great matches out there, your top guy is only half of the time there. It has Brock Lesnar notes to it, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not saying
we've said his name.
I'm not saying Kenny Omega is anything like Brock Lesnar, because obviously Kenny Omega is leaps and bounds better in this industry than Brock Lesnar is.
I feel like he would get his feelings real hurt if he had heard that.
It's not. I don't think it's very fan friendly or consumer friendly to take a hot commodity like Kenny Omega and try to split it over two separate companies just because both companies end up getting the short end of the stick, in my opinion.
But then again, I feel like only we are going to know the difference. I think the average fan,
the hardcore fans would only really know
we're
the
gonna
difference.
know. All of us onto the contracts and the the storylines and the angles. We're gonna know the difference, but I think the average fan is just gonna see Kenny Omega. They can write it.
Yeah, if they just watch
mean?
New Japan and they don't really get into like the contracts and everything, they might not even know that Kenny Omega is even in All Elite Wrestling. They're just like, I see Kenny Omega most of the time, so he must be in New
make
Japan.
it work with the writing. That's why I think AEW and New Japan are working together.
See, for me, I don't think there is a way to make it work in the writing.
So I mean, and you don't necessarily have to write it the same way, but New Japan's in the middle of the deal with Ring of Honor right now. They can host shows together, they can host talent together. There's nothing to say that New Japan couldn't do the same thing with AEW once their partnership with Ring of Honor is done. I think that's probably what they would ideally like to do, is honor their deal with Ring of Honor and then see the rest of that out. Ring of Honor is going to have a really tough time, this 2019 because they lost a lot of talent this year, and AEW's now here with a ton more money than what Ring of Honor's put into their product so far. I think New Japan would probably see AEW as a more attractive option. Now, we had an announcement from AEW. They so SmackDown was in Jacksonville, Florida this past week, and AEW held a press releaser at the parking lot at the TIAA Center, where SmackDown was going to be held.
Straight attitude era shades.
Oh yeah. So some interesting notes to take of this press conference here. Okay. There were executives, not executives, but WWE definitely sent people to this press conference just to see what was up. Yeah.
Wow.
With AEW, because I mean they're right there. Might as well spy and see what was going on.
Yeah.
Also, HBO had some representatives there from their Vice series to cover what's going on with AEW. So that's got some major exposure too. There was obviously a lot of people there from all sorts of walk of television broadcasting who were probably keeping a keen eye out on this. The Khan family there, Tony Khan particularly, was on hand as the owner. He fielded some questions after the press conference. We had been introduced to.
Sorry, real quick. Has Vice aired?
No,
yet?
No, this will probably be aired later on.
Okay.
But it's very interesting that they were there filming, because I think that there's something in the works there. I know HBO Vice was actually working on doing something with Kenny Omega as well. So you'll probably see something more with Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. Whether or not that relates also to what's going on with the AEW situation and why HBO was there at that press conference, I don't know, but there was definitely HBO representatives there.
Nice.
We got to learn of a lot of really cool things going on in AEW. So we got to get some talent here. SoCal Uncensored, which is Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. So these are some staples from Ring of Honor that became free agents this year. Cody's obviously there, as are the Young Bucks.
I like them. I like the Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks are really good. Hangman Page, also a member of the Elite, is there. One interesting thing in the middle of the conference, when Cody and the Young Bucks were on stage, they talked about they have a partnership now with a company called Oriental Wrestling Entertainment. They're based out of China, so they're gonna have some of their talent shared in AEW. So they have a partnership, at least in that regard. I think AEW may want to keep experimenting with this and have different partnerships going. I don't think it could hurt anything at all, whether they have one here with OWE. Here stateside, you have a company like Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PWG. They're probably the groundwork for some fantastic talent that keeps making it into NXT, like Ricochet. I mean, the Young Bucks were notorious there, out of California. That was their home base for a long time.
So is that SoCal, you said?
Yeah, I believe so. Okay. Yes. So PWG, they have this annual tournament also called the Battle of Los Angeles. It's not like a major company per se. They hold these very intimate small shows. There's not even like a barricade between the fans and the ring.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. They have some content that you can find online, particularly on YouTube or Daily Motion, where you can see what's going on in PWG right now. But they're a breeding ground for some really good talent there. Obviously with the New Japan deal with Ring of Honor, if that comes up, they can always look into New Japan as being a partner. There's companies in Mexico like CMLL or AAA that you can get involved with.
Nice.
So, if you really take that approach like WCW did and try and partner up with Mexican federations, Japanese federations, and just companies all over the world, and just try and bring in and partner with as much talent as you can, they can make this into something really special.
Well, yeah, you could almost make AEW like a network of sorts,
Basically, like the old school NWA was.
I had an idea. I was thinking, because you mentioned Vice and HBO.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have wrestling on a dedicated cable channel. That would cover. That would kill two birds with one stone, from the sense that you would get immediate exposure, while at the same time not needing a mega fan base. Well, you could go to a targeted fan base and be the edgier alternative.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll get to that here in a second, because there's some interesting news floating about with that too, right? Because there's when they did the original All In show, there was definitely TV executives there.
Okay.
There's definitely a lot of hot interest in, hey, what could this be?
Because I was going to say too, they could take the model sort of from LeBron James, how he does the shop on HBO.
Yeah.
It's sort of an alternative to First Take and Skip and Shed and Undisputed, because it's more adult and they can just and they do the same thing. Whatever. They just talk. They say whatever, but it's unfiltered.
Maybe we should get on HBO.
Hey.
Headlock Talk on HBO.
Hey.
There you go. Hey, HBO, if you're listening, you like what
HBO.
you hear.
Listen to episode 2 when Tanner calls Vince McMahon racist.
Yeah, I'm gonna get so sued.
You guys will like that.
Nice callback.
Yeah, I'm gonna get sued, guys.
Going a little bit off that though, with the maturity. Go ahead.
Let me run through the roster real quick. There's some interesting news here.
We're going a little bit off topic. We're pretty excited here.
Yes.
Hangman Adam Page came out. Like I said, a member of the Elite. He talked about how he wants to become All Elite Wrestling's first heavyweight champion. And who is to arrive but a familiar face? He goes by Pac now.
Hey.
But we all used to know him from WWE as Neville.
Yeah.
So Neville's going back to his original name, Pac. His home base is in a company called Dragon's Gate, which is also out of Japan. He's their champion right now. But he says, you know what? Well, I'm already a champion. You're going to have to go through me to get your All-In championship.
And the thing is...
That's going to be a good match. That's one match that I would have never expected, but I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Adam Page and Pac.
And is that going to be the headlining first match, or one of the headlining first matches?
Well, so they announced a new event at the press conference called Double or Nothing.
Yeah, you would tell. Yeah, and I've seen it in Being the Elite. I've seen them.
Yeah, they keep teasing it. They keep teasing it. So that's gonna be their next event. Is called Double or Nothing, underneath the new banner of AEW. I would imagine that would be something worth investing in as a Pac and Adam Page storyline.
I like it.
I think it would be very good. Either guy, I think, would make a great first champion for All Elite Wrestling. And they close out the press conference with Chris Jericho being introduced. So yes. Chris Jericho was a free agent from New Japan, coming back over to stateside. And I'm sure, I know for a fact, WWE representatives who were in attendance here were not too pleased with Chris Jericho being there. Yeah. If you watch the opening cut to WWE, starting on SmackDown that night, you'll notice that any imaging or likeness of that intro roll, where they have how they splice pictures of it, it makes that WWE image.
Yep. Yeah.
that on the logo, anything that had Chris Jericho in it was removed.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, so they already scrapped them. So.
What I was going to say too was
petty.
Yeah, well,
Vince. But what I was going to say too was just carrying that angle of scorned WWE wrestlers. You know, Neville. I think the one obviously Enzo. Getting the belt.
I don't want to see Enzo anywhere near AEW.
No, I'm talking about 205 Live. Enzo getting the belt.
I see what you're saying.
Like WTF, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they made the man wear a cape.
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
They did. Well, but if you look at him now, he's like super duper evil, like super tough. He looks mean.
I like it.
I mean, he's good. Pac is fantastic.
I like it, and so it could definitely become the place for guys that WWE didn't let be themselves. And it can, and with the edgier, especially like being elite, how in those episodes, one thing we were talking about how they it was Adam and Matt, and they were talking about how they wrote a letter to Triple H. And they were like, we've seen your...
Matt Jackson talking about the...
Yeah, and they were like, we've seen your tag matches on Raw. Yeah, we're not coming over.
Oh, man. Yeah,
and then,
Being the Elite, if y'all haven't checked out Being the Elite, the videos on YouTube, those are gold.
It's
gold. That's probably the best way to keep in touch with what's going on right now in all Elite Wrestling.
And I got to catch the one when they did one where they go after Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
So they sort of do
a post Wrestle Kingdom
one. And it's just good. It just reminds me of Attitude Era. How there were no lines.
Guerrilla marketing and even the same episode we talked about it. But did you see it, Stephen? So there's one. This episode they hit Triple H. They show the back of his head, blonde guy. And they hit him, and then they just sort of, wait for him to fall, and they're like, and then they just look at him, and it just, breaks that fourth wall of how, wrestlers never go down the first time you're hit, and then he just falls flat on his face. So it's like they do a lot of that wink, wink, and they just got an opportunity here to really dig in that knife, and that's what will, to me, I think, ironically create the buzz for AEW because that's how WWE in irony took the buzz from WCW. With Triple H, Triple H sitting outside. The DX invasion of WCW show.
Well, I'm hoping with AEW that for lack of a better word, it turns into a more hardcore WWE, like a wrestling show with Western tropes, or if you want to call them that, something that I grew up with watching, but take away the PG rating. Because honestly, I think that's what hurts
I think
WWE
it'll make
sometimes.
Vince lend more credence to NXT. I think it'll make him run to NXT and say, Triple H, what are you doing down there? Any more guys? I think then that's how we're all winners, because he's going to need do something and once this ball really gets rolling, especially if the Khans are not treating this like a toy, but actually investing.
Tony Khan's very serious about this. So I think that there's definitely room for Vince to be worried. I know that the WWE, not only do they issue out not a request, but they offered Kenny Omega that massive, fantastic deal. They offered the Young Bucks and Cody a fantastic deal, and all of them have turned it down so far.
So they turned around and tried to give Cody money? After seeing that he actually didn't need to stay Stardust?
They were gonna pay Cody.
And they were gonna pay the Young Bucks. That's all.
It was a last ditch effort.
That's kicking the nads, stone cold stun, middle fingers while you lie on the ground writhing in pain. What do you think is happening here?
I'm
starting a business. I'm not working for yours.
Right.
Well, I think
what is that?
Vince knew and understood.
Last ditch, like you said, it's business. Last ditch. Let me toss something out there, so you stop thinking about the mega millions you're gonna make from having your own thing.
Right. And like I said, I mean, you look at some of the acquisitions that they have now. I mean, Chris Jericho, like I said, is a huge get for AEW.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where he goes now. I mean, he's definitely going to be, a figurehead and the experienced guy that everybody in the back goes to for advice. And I mean, who better than Chris Jericho at this moment to seek out advice from if you want to put on a great match.
Yes.
That guy's a genius.
I mean, think of the training these guys, whoever they partner with, that come here get. It's going to be insane.
Yeah. Well, and we'll probably get more and more news about what the roster is going to look like as we go through this. I mean, there's other talent like from I've got the list here in front of me, guys. Was it Joey Janela? He was on the first All In event.
Nice.
We'll probably see a lot of guys. Seema, I know, is a guy that rings a bell to me. He's probably going to be around quite a bit as well. So this will be.
Any announcements for the date of Double or Nothing?
I believe there is. I don't have it offhand, but I do know that it's going to be in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So that's going to be something interesting to look at. I mean, but I know that they also announced that they're going to have another event towards the end of the year as well, or I guess later on this year is what they said. So Double or Nothing will be the first. They'll probably have something else also for 2019.
Okay.
So Double or Nothing is going to take place in Las Vegas, Nevada, May 25th,
May
2019.
Okay.
So not too far away.
So they're taking their time.
Yeah. Not too far, but we still got a little bit of time.
As far as just to kind of again wrap up this AEW talk here. You mentioned TV deals earlier. There was definitely at the first All In event a lot of talk about TV executives being there. Will there be interest in this? A lot of what I've heard, and I can't attest to the accuracy of this, but from what it's been circulating around a lot, news-wise, is the Turner networks. TNT and TBS might be likely landing spots.
TNT would be a fantastic
that would
channel to be on.
That would be ideal for them.
Yeah.
They have already trademarked the title Tuesday Night Dynamite. So that might be like their weekly showrunner
That would be good.
title. And so, I mean, dude, if you put that on TBS or TNT, I mean, you're gonna get a lot of exposure.
Yeah,
because those are two
sure.
heavily nationally syndicated channels.
Mm-hmm. And if I recall, WCW was
TNT.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So that would be very ironic if that happened.
Very needle.
Yep. A couple other things of maybe not minor note, but I mean some very intriguing things that were also talked about during the All In press conference. So Brandy Rhodes, Cody Rhodes' wife, she announced that men's talent and women's talent will have equal pay.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean it's a very progressive thought.
Modern.
I don't know how it's going to work though, because for me, and this is I'm not trying to be sexist or anything.
Yeah.
No.
But for me,
I know exactly where you're going.
I mean, it's wrestling is about headliners, key guys, or gals for that matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm obviously a huge fan of the women's division in WWE. Becky Lynch is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Asuka's fantastic. Charlotte's great. I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan as well. Bayley's awesome. But wrestling, it should be about who draws regardless.
Yeah.
And I think that wrestling's that kind of business where you make that money regardless. If you're a top talent.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that somebody gets equal pay,
male or female?
If you have a guy like Kenny Omega who comes over to AEW, I wouldn't expect you to pay him any less than what you would pay maybe a top female talent.
Yeah. Well, I guess the question would be if you're going for equal pay, equal to who?
Equal to who? Exactly.
Are you equal to jobbers? Are you equal to main eventers? Like
exactly.
I'm thinking it's equal pay across the job field.
But at that point, that kind of makes it a little bit harder because if you're doing an equal mid-grade pay, and someone from AEW ends up being a huge breakaway talent, then and WWE comes in and is like, hey, here's this much money.
Right. Now I could see it being something maybe a little bit more structured, perhaps.
Maybe like tiers.
Kind of like tiers.
Yeah.
Like basically everybody makes a flat $150,000 a year.
Right.
Okay. And if you're Kenny Omega and you're the biggest drawer.
Yeah, the Kenny Claus.
The Kenny Claus, basically.
Yeah.
If you're the top drawer, if you're the guy who sells all the merch, then maybe you're getting a little bit more bonus incentive on top of it. When everybody starts at an even level.
Yeah. So your pay is incentives.
Exactly.
So
that may be what we're seeing more or less of.
Same base pay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That to me makes the most sense.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
One other thing that's very interesting, and I don't know if either of y'all know this really, but WWE and wrestlers in general historically have been what they call independent contractors. Yeah, they're not actual, like the talent there who wrestles aren't actual employees of the company per se.
Right.
They're contracted. So their healthcare, wrestlers' healthcare in WWE is not provided for them. They have to provide their own. All Elite says that that's one thing that they're looking at working on is making sure that if a wrestler is injured in their ring, that guy's going to be taken care of. So they're looking to make healthcare being provided for the talent across the board being something that's accessible.
That's good.
That's really interesting, and it's very can't think of the word, but Tony Khan, you better have the money to. I know he does, but you better be willing to back up all this with money because equal pay across all superstars and healthcare for every single one. That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, these claims are very honorable and very progressive. But yeah, I mean, it's put up or shut up.
Yeah, that's.
I want to see it happen.
Like that. That's all well and good, but man, that's a lot of money.
If they can find money to build $2 billion, $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion stadium.
Well, and they're very serious. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars draw a lot of money. Fulham Football Club in England draws a lot of money, and of course, I'm sure the Khans have all sorts of other business interests that help prop them up.
And also, by the way, typically a sports owner, by that point, the team they buy is more like us buying a expensive car.
Yeah.
They're not buying it to make money.
Yeah.
They're just buying it because they want it.
Right.
So the money will be there.
Yeah.
More likely than not. If the commitment is. A lot of times you look at, a billionaire investing in something, obviously since you've made it to billions, you didn't get there by not being smart with money.
Right.
So typically they'll say, my commitment is this.
Yep.
20 million. I'm a billionaire, but my commitment is 20 million or whatever. So if, kind of saying, look, I'm going to commit to what's going to get the job done, then there's a thing, there's probably a passion there, or he really wants to see it get done. If that's the case, the money will be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and I think Tony Khan's bought into a lot of what Cody and the Young Bucks have made him believe, and I think they're making believers out of a lot of fans too, and that this is an alternative that can be taken seriously, and I hope it is, because I mean it only helps the wrestling business as a whole, whether that's guys like AJ Styles or Kenny Omega or Cody or whoever it may be, from the tippy top down to us three guys sitting in J-Rod's living room talking about wrestling.
Yeah.
Who are
better
trying
competition breeds better competition.
Yeah, I mean, us as publishers of content, I mean that helps everybody, and it helps the average everyday fan too, because it gives you guys it gives us all more access to view and appreciate something that we love, and that we cherish as a hobby,
Yeah, because look at it. I mean, we just did an entire show.
just talking about AEW and New Japan
and the possibilities. Yeah,
Kenny Omega. Yeah, I mean it's great.
It's a great time to be a wrestling fan right now. Yeah.
Well, I want to take a few moments here for us to. I know we're in 2019 now, but let's take a look back.
Let's go
back in the time machine. All right, we're back in 2018 now, you guys. It's been a little bit here.
It has. That was a strange trip back.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want us to reminisce about our favorite moments and favorite matches of 2018.
There were so many good ones.
There's so many good ones. Across the board in wrestling in general, there's so many good matches.
I'm going to go with...
So many good memories. You can talk about anything that you want.
Yeah.
Whatever your heart desires.
I'm going to go with the match and the moment.
Okay. Just one?
Yeah, I'm gonna narrow it down to one. My favorite match, and because it was one of my favorite moments.
Very decisive of you.
Yeah,
very decisive of you.
I got
a few. So he got a few. Yeah,
Steven's got a few. Yeah.
So Survivor Series.
Okay.
Rousey Flair.
Okay.
Favorite match, not necessarily because it told a very profound story. Yeah. In the match itself, but good work. Some of Rousey's best work so far. But
I thought it told a really good story too.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about after the fact. I'm talking before disqual.
My bad.
I'm talking about
the overall.
The overall, the first, before. The Kindle slaps. And then just because of my favorite moment, because it was a sort of a breaking in for Ronda Rousey, something that you could almost feel the fans and the women's locker room cheering for. And it's one of those things that if you take like a champ, which she did to her credit, you garner that respect. You're telling the fans and the locker room, I plan to be here for a while. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not fly by night. And I think after that, a little while after that, she started doing house shows as well. So it's just an acclamation, just reminding me of how Hulk Hogan said when he first got into business. Guys broke him in by literally breaking his leg. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where guys want to let you know that it's fake, but it's real. Mm-hmm. From the sense that, as Ric Flair said, it's choreographed. That's the only thing that makes it quote unquote fake.
Right.
The toll and the effort and the work is all real.
Yeah.
So it was a great moment that kind of encapsulated sort of what wrestling is really about.
100%, yeah. And going off of that, I'll go ahead with one of my favorite matches of 2018 was the TLC match, the Triple Threat Women's TLC match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Coming off of one of, I think, the best years for the women's division. Just a lot of really solid matches. Becky Lynch has done so much for that women's division.
Yeah.
Really propelled it into the top and made a lot of people take it seriously. A tiny bit of backstory for myself. If you haven't seen episode 1, I somewhat recently just got back into wrestling, and back when I stopped watching, it was right in the era of like Kelly and Mickie James and those kind of divas,
good
they're okay at what they were, but the women's division wasn't what it is today, where it was actually serious competitors who seriously knew what they were doing.
Work on the mic and in the ring.
Work on the mic and the ring and could really put on a great show. And so for me, this was one of the first all-woman matches that was the best match on the card. Right. Just I don't know if it's specifically because of how good Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair and Asuka are, or if it's just the writers actually wanting to take the women's division seriously. I think it might be a combination of the two, but I think with that main event, it really cemented the women's division of WWE and saying like, hey, we're here. We're not just here to look pretty. We're here to mess some people up, and we're going to entertain everybody. Yeah. And so that was definitely one of my favorite matches and moments from 2018.
Absolutely. There's so many.
Oh, there is.
So, and I was reminiscing with Stephen in the car on the way up here. I mean, if you look at New Japan this year, the G1 tournament was great. I mean, Kenny Omega, again, I know we've been raving on and on and on and on and on about him this whole episode.
Yes.
But I mean, for good reason. I mean, he had a great year in which he was participating as the champion in the G1 tournament. He had a great match with Naito. He had a great match with his best friend Kota Ibushi. Mm-hmm. Kota Ibushi had a great match in the finals against Tanahashi. So there were some great matches out of New Japan. Obviously, the Ospreay Kota Ibushi match that took place in New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom 13. This just a couple weeks back. Mm-hmm. We'll probably revisit that next year as part of the best matches of 2019.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Chris Jericho in New Japan with his match with Kenny Omega was great.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And then you have pretty much any. I mean, if you look back at NXT, I mean, every NXT takeover was great this year.
Mm.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, it was great. I mean, as far as WWE main product goes, probably my favorite match, main product wise, would probably be Charlotte versus Becky Lynch at the NXT Women's Evolution show.
Okay.
It reminded me of if you're a horror movie fan, if you've watched Halloween before, Charlotte basically plays the role of Michael Myers, who every time Becky Lynch does something, you think Charlotte's dead, and Charlotte keeps coming back like a monster. So that was a really good match that I really enjoyed. Becky Lynch finally walks out with her title, and it's made for a really great match. Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano at NXT Takeover New Orleans. It was a classic, one of my favorite matches ever. So that's probably my favorite match of this year.
I'm gonna agree with you on that. That match was nuts.
I have a real soft spot for that match. All of the story, all the drama, everything was perfect in that match. I absolutely love it, and it made Tommaso Ciampa become even bigger heel and put him on the map, even far more than what he was already. And Johnny Gargano, a really good face. So it was really hard for me to count against that as the best match of the year. For me, there can only be one match that was the best match of the year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada at New Japan Dominion. 2 out of 3 falls, no time limits to end the rivalry between Okada and Omega.
I watched that.
And that was a fantastic
great
match.
Over an hour long. If you
great
have
match.
the time to afford that, and you want to get New Japan's streaming subscription, again, it's only $9.99 a month.
Honestly, that match, even if you don't want a New Japan subscription, that match is worth $10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just buy it for a month and watch that match.
That was a great match.
Over 70 minutes of drama, all the stories that intermingle with it. I mean, you have to consider this. Those men had 3 really great matches already, all that were well above anything that's even acceptable as 5 stars. They were there. It was even better than 5-star matches that I've seen. But this one takes the cake as the absolute best match that I've ever seen in my life. So even though Gargano Ciampa is probably the favorite match that I've watched this year, that's probably the best match that I've ever seen ever. So I mean, that's got to be the best match for me.
Yeah. No, it's definitely up there for sure.
Great moment. And this is a bit cheesy, so I feel a little bit flat coming off that. After saying that Kenny Omega and Okada was the best match I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one thing that gets forgotten about a little bit is there's a little story this year heading into WrestleMania. John Cena didn't have a path to get to WrestleMania. He had
We're talking moments.
He tried so hard, and to get into a title match, he tried so hard to find a way to find an opponent, and then he called out the Undertaker. And week in and week out, he would call out the Undertaker, and the Undertaker wouldn't show up. And then when he gets to WrestleMania, he just decides, I'm going to be a fan in the front row.
Yep.
He's going to sit down. You saw him. He had a beer in his hand for a little bit. I don't know if they were supposed to show him having a beer. Whatever.
He actually commented on that on Last Raw.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he said he shouldn't have had those beers.
Oh, fair enough. Well, he was having those beers. He was called out, or the referee came out of the ring after the Charlotte and Asuka match. He told John, gotta get ready. And so John made a beeline back to the back to get ready for his match. He went out to the ring a little bit while later. Thought he was fighting the Undertaker, but Elias comes out, right? And Elias is playing his guitar. He mocks John Cena. And John dispatches Elias real quick.
Yep.
He looked around thinking, is this it? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. This is it. Waves to the fans. Starts walking back up the ramp. And then the lights go out.
Yep.
And that famous gong.
Boom.
Yeah.
So for me, the match was a throwaway match. Let's be honest here. It wasn't that great of a match.
Yeah.
But that was perfectly built as a moment in which you're like, I've always wanted to see John Cena and Undertaker have their WrestleMania match. I think that would have been really great to see before Undertaker's the downside of his career occurred. I mean, you could have had it so many times, but for them to finally have that match at WrestleMania, to have that moment was great. And the younger wrestling fan inside me really marked out for that one. So I really enjoyed that as a moment. But absolutely, this 2018. Above all other years, I think was probably the best year overall in terms of wrestling quality that we've seen in a long, long time. As far as the work ethic and the work rate in ring is concerned, one of the best years across the board, no matter the company. Definitely one of the best. And 2019 has a lot to live up for.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I did want to mention one more moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're trying to wrap up, but
yeah.
It actually happened very, very recently at NXT, maybe about 3 weeks ago, 4 months ago, something like that. It was the Gargano-Aleister Black cage match.
Oh yeah.
The match itself, it was decent. Had some big moments, but the single moment I'm talking about is right at the end when Tommaso Ciampa came out right at the end, and they did him and Gargano did the DIY finisher on Aleister Black.
That was great.
And seeing heel Tommaso Ciampa and confused face Gargano coming in and possibly foreshadowing a heel DIY, even though Gargano may or may not have said that's not a thing already. Yeah. But even just that moment of me being such a huge fan of Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, seeing that possibility of them coming back together, even if it doesn't happen, I thought it was a really cool moment. Especially, that's a very big moment, I think, to have on just a regular NXT show.
Yeah.
That didn't happen at a takeover.
Yeah.
It was just the main event of a show, and I think it was really good.
Nice. Yeah.
Jero, anything to add on in 2018?
That's pretty much everything. Jericho Omega.
Yeah.
Good as usual.
Yep.
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 Just.
I mean, those two guys
together.
can't have a bad match.
The work, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so just to round out everything,
Mm-hmm.
I do hope that 2019 is a great year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Going forward, gentlemen, as we close the show, is there anything that you would like to see or like to predict for 2019?
I would love to see Kenny Omega in WWE. But if that doesn't happen,
Okay.
at any point, bring Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Aleister Black to the main roster because it is time. Those guys are extremely talented.
They're very ready.
It is time.
Yeah.
It is time. And stop showing the Lars Sullivan promo every single Raw because I do not care.
He's not the hottest thing in NXT. I didn't get it. It felt that give me a second.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I've been wanting to say this for a while.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Vince is trying to force stuff down our throats again.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Getting us to care about
the thing that got me.
A mid-tier NXT wrestler.
The thing that got me about the Lars Sullivan promo
trying to get us to buy in
is he kind of just like the whole promo is literally just body slams and screaming. It's like, okay, what does he do? Is that all he does? He does suplexes and screams.
Before or after he's pacing back and forth in what appears to be jail?
But he's got the he's looking for.
One, I don't care about Lars Sullivan, and two, that's a terrible promo.
So I read something. I read something about Lars Sullivan that he was supposed to make his debut this week.
On
Raw or sometime very recently.
He's been supposed to make
and
his...
he allegedly had a panic attack.
Oh man.
So they
I can
because
see
WWE is wanting to be more health conscious and more employee conscious. They said, okay, well, you don't have to come out and debut this week. It's fine. We'll do it another week. So it's just like okay, well that's
all right.
Well, it's just
Lars, as a person who struggles with anxiety, and I'm being serious right now.
Steven's very close to the mic.
I am, but I'm being serious right now. As a person who struggles with anxiety, that is not a good way to start out your main roster career, and I hope you the. It's not a good look, and I wish you the best, and I hope that that you can kind of get over that. But I'm just gonna tell you this straight up: the Monster having, I guess the Freek having a panic attack on the first day.
Yeah,
that's not a good look.
Well, let me just say, I mean, it could be from the smack he was talking. Because on Twitter he was talking smack, saying he was one of the best to come up.
Yeah.
When you're not even top 5. You know?
I mean,
if
you ask me, maybe not even top 10.
No.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you're
the only reason he came up was because the actual top talent is busy.
Well,
exactly.
Well, and because he's big.
And because he's big and he opens his mouth wide and screams a lot.
And so, so I was going to say, sort of tying into that, one thing I'm looking forward to this 2019 is Vince's response to AEW.
Yeah.
Because Vince has been known to be a guy that is adaptable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He likes his big guys, but he also loves his business more. So, I mean, we could get a Gargano Ciampa call up with that rivalry going straight to WWE.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
that
would
would
be great.
That would run right with AEW's momentum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm excited to see
a response.
Vince's response.
I think that would be great.
Especially with the momentum it's gaining, and it looks like May's going to be a hot time of year.
Absolutely.
With Double or Nothing and,
for sure.
Yeah.
So
for me, it's definitely AEW. Where do we go from here? Like, what's Double or Nothing going to look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are they going to make TV? I mean, it seems like definitely an eventuality at this point. So, so I guess for me, what I want to see in 2019, AEW on TV.
Yep.
I think that's going to be very, very interesting, and it's definitely going to set the tone of what maybe the next 10, 20 years of wrestling.
It's a big shakeup for especially the American wrestling industry that has not had a shakeup in a very long time. So definitely good.
Long time coming.
So just a further, more personal note here to our listeners. 2019, we plan on having a really big year here at Headlock Talk as well. We're gonna be I don't know if you've known this here, listeners, but this is episode 4. Here soon, we're actually going to launch out onto Spotify and iTunes. That's the plan here so far. We've definitely got a host site that we're going to be getting onto. So by the time you're listening to this, you might already be listening to us on Spotify.
Yes.
Very, very possible.
Yep.
Or iTunes, for that matter. So we're really excited for that. We have a lot of other great ideas planned.
And if you are listening to us on iTunes and Spotify right now, I thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You are appreciated.
You're appreciated, for sure.
And by the time you've heard this, you will already have heard our Rousey and Vince McMahon takes.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that for now.
Probably so. I don't want any legal letters in my face. That's not something that Tanner wants in his life. But we're also working currently on building us a second studio option, so that way we've got 2 areas that we can record in, here at J-Roz Lab and here at second home studios over at my house.
Catching live shows.
So we'll be able to be more responsive towards you guys as the listeners and be able to provide you with more content. This lab's actually going to look really great because we'll have a TV in there, we'll have the computers in there, we'll be able to do the live running shows if we want to. We can do post Raws, post Smackdowns. So that's definitely the plan right now. We appreciate your patience, and we're going to make sure that we make 2019 a great year for everyone here at Headlock Talk and for you guys, the listeners.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming to you guys.
Absolutely.
Hey, well,
all right.
Have a good new year and hope you make your resolution.
Yeah.